Red Room Poetry exists to make poetry in meaningful ways.
We are relearning this place through poetry.
I cut the mooncake into quarters and spoon out the deep orange yolks.
What does poetry mean to me? Poetry means storytelling.
Poetry to me is the purest and most concentrated form of the wonder that is language.
Poetry both simplifies my world and complicates it at the same time.
Poetry is pure expression.
Poetry is an excellent channel to express yourself.
For me, it is an extraordinary kind of time machine that we can enter and exit at any time.
Poetry opens language to all that is glorious and awful in us, and that opening invites change.
From seed to tree, from earth to sky, we rise.
What does poetry mean to you? For over 20 years, Red Room Poetry has commissioned and supported artists to explore that question. From nurturing new and emerging talent to providing platforms for established voices, for over 2 decades, we've published more than 32,000 poems, launched the careers of thousands of writers, and developed Australia's largest freely available digital library of contemporary poetry. Red Room Poetry exists to make poetry in meaningful ways, and our focus is on uplifting First Nations voices, young, emerging and marginalised poets, and making positive change through our many poetic projects. I'm Tamryn Bennett, Artistic Director at Red Room Poetry and editor of A Line in the Sand, 20 Years of Red Room Poetry. This is a special anniversary volume published with Pantera Press, and it brings together over 80 pieces from leading poets and public figures in a retrospective that covers 20 years of the most luminous commissioned Australian poetry, wrapped together with a foreword by a revered poet and our first Red Room Fellow, Ali Cobby Eckermann. It features the work of poets including Yasmin Abdel-Mashid, Maxine Beneba-Clark, Tony Birch, Dorothy Porter, Eloise Grills, Sarah Holland-Batt, Jazz Money, Omar Musa, Bruce Pascoe, Maria Turmarkin, and Uncle Archie Roach, AC. This collection provides illumination, space to speak and to listen, connection between truth and dreams, loss and life. It's a celebration of what poetry is and can be.
A line in the sand. Sand. Pulse. Footprint. Track. Dance. June. Walk. Bone. Skin. Grass. Alive. Sand. Sit. Burrow. Imprint. Soul.
This is a time of lily-pillies plumping into fullness. Possum skin cloaks on the mend, or perhaps being worn for the first time again. An age of deciduous homemakers losing leaves, and the last flowers falling from myrtle. A moment of wattle and whale sinking to mark the start of migration. And like the old ones here, I am healing, releasing, growing and moving. Fruiting a new path on this country that is not mine, but who kindly offers wisdoms as trees. Reminds us how our scars are sacred, and the many ways to lay down deep roots, to nourish beneath. even when the west wind howls islands into ocean. These wise ones show how a crowded canopy can offer shade, but limits growth to those below. Knowing that tall trees are forged over grandfather sundowns and seasons, 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 seasons.
I'm Andrea Goldsmith, the partner of Dorothy Porter. These are 3 previously unpublished poems of hers, very typical of her work with their surface clarity and restraint over a swirl of feeling. Raving. In this new morning, it is love that makes me chatter. Moving, light as a monkey, I'm giving off a hectic joy that could only be love in all its raving generosity. Thank you, my darling, for exploding in my heart. So when you leave me, mute and sober, once and for all, I will remember the talk and coffee and giddy peace of this morning. Reading between my lines. Please, darling, please read between my lines. I am a fabulous script, elephant head, spear point, sheaves of wheat, and strange whatnot. I am all yours. Please, my lovely last chance girl, read between my lines. Silence. It is rare for me to write a poem in absolute silence. No music, no throttling heart. Just faint early birds and a grey early sky. I've given up the serpentine fight. No one won. And I'm flooded with peace and gratitude for that.
This is an evening song for you. I know it's difficult to be simple. This is an evening song for you. Like the moon in the water, I wrote it for you. Don't look at the evening news. Let me share the world with you. Come out and watch the moon. Something new has begun for us into the dark and into dreams. Let's meet again. This is an evening song for you. I know it's difficult to be patient. This is an evening song for you. Like the birds sing the sky, I wrote it for you. Don't look at the evening news. Come out and watch the birds return to their homes. Something new has begun. Sip a glass of chum and into dreams let's meet again. This is an evening song for you. I know it's difficult to be sincere. This is an evening song for you. Like the mountains whispering, I wrote it for you. Don't look at the evening news. Come out and watch children's play. Into the shadow of the sunset, listen to the mountains in the distance. Something new has begun. And into dreams, let's hear them again. This is a song I wrote. I know it's difficult to be simple, patient, and sincere. I have many thoughts. I wish you could see. The universe is sitting on a back of a single thought. The universe is sitting on a back of a single thought. I wish you could see them all. This is a song I wrote for you.
Every morning I am reborn, must reteach myself to function, must learn tiresome tasks that always need to be redone, that are in their doing unlearned and undone. Like Jesus, dragging the stone from the door, only to be required to attend tedious course after course on proper wound management. I stare into the mirror. My eyes pour out of my face like two freshly torn bags of sand. I drag my toothbrush across my teeth, willing myself to do it for 2 more seconds, 3, pulling it across like the heaviest ever chain on a chainsaw, like it might come to life, tear me right out of my body, out of this room, out of this most mind-numbing Texas Chainsaw Massacre of all time. Every morning, and every morning, and every morning, and every morning after that. How to love oneself if one is just a lousy piece of shit. How to find radical self-acceptance if you are just radically unlikable. How to give in to the immense unfriendliness of the universe if you are a privileged white woman who just needs to shut the fuck up. Every morning, a huge crane drives itself into an endless pile of dirt and nothing shifts. Every morning, the light throws itself against the power lines and the apartment blocks. And some of the night stays, lingers in their shadow.
I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people on whose land I wrote this poem called Entanglement, which is based on real life events. And it goes like this. I am watching myself untangle my earphones, my body's walk paused, standing on the corner of Bedford and Probert, beneath mini grotesques on the roof of a white and grey self-renovated house, its ghost gum swaying in the wind as 3 trains careen by from different origins, interlocking like snaking blocks of Tetris, the passengers on board watching my body standing there on the corner of Probert, its fingers untangling earphones, its eyes fixed on a missing parrot poster taped to a telegraph pole, mind fixating on whether the silk shirt they're wearing, white feathers on black, expresses their gender today. Standing on the corner of Probert, sun splitting the clouds as a gap opens up between trains, permitting past and future to collide, I am watching myself untangle my earphones from the roof with the mini grotesques I crouch beside, ghost gum convulsing in the wind, silver leaves within reach, but obscuring the vermilion and forest green parrot whose clipped wings have carried it from Lilyfield to Newtown, one dry urban tree to the next, and into my garden, from which I've climbed to the rooftops in pursuit of the missing bird, whose family has arrived to shout advice from the street, along with 2 firemen, some neighbours and passers-by, as 3 trains speed to separate destinations, interlocking like snaking blocks of Tetris, my body spaced out across lightweight tin roof, mind fixating on whether I'm capable of holding this creature who doesn't want to be held, sweat dripping all the way to the sidewalk, sun splitting the clouds as a gap opens up between trains, synapses tethered to the silver leaves, the wild expectations of the street, the vermilion and green blur as the parrot slips my grasp, glides out across Bedford, just clearing the fence to the train tracks, clipped wings flapping but not rising, the thud of its body audible over the screech of metal on metal, the bright bird feathered on the dark rocks of the tracks, face up to the sky. For days to come, I am watching myself untangle.
Hey! Yeah. No.
Hi, my name's Nina, and this is my poem. It's called Makes You Stronger. A man once showed me around a share house, and whenever he showed me a bad part, he said, "But hey, makes you stronger." So yeah, the sink pipes, they're rotten, but hey, makes you stronger. There's a leak, like in the ceiling, but hey, makes you stronger. Oh, this is our ornamental Yayoi Kusama wallpaper? Nah, just kidding, it's mold. But hey, makes you stronger. I am showing my inner child around the cabin on the ship of Theseus. That's a cute nickname I have for my carefully curated, ever-changing personality. Constantly under renovation, I refuse to throw out the broken bits. I hoard anything and everything that causes me any pain ever. A daily reminder to never get too happy. It's actually self-care to self-hate. I just let it all pile up, a hot, stinking mass rapidly filling the room. She watches as I jokingly gesture to it, like, "Look, Simba, everything the light touches is our kingdom." Silence. Okay, I am gonna deal with it soon, but I'm actually really busy with work and stuff right now. Like, I'm adding a Guy Fieri buffet to the ship of Theseus. I am adding a big-ass water slide to the ship of Theseus. I am performing a poem that uses the phrase ship of Theseus as if I didn't just Google modern philosophical terms that will endear yourself to poets 5 minutes ago on the ship of Theseus. I am crashing into an iceberg and all I feel is relief. I'm in an Oedipal relationship with my inner child. When I grow up, I'm gonna fuck me and then kill myself. Right now, I'm still floating down the river in a basket, and the wicker is disintegrating, and the water is pouring in. But hey, makes you stronger.
G'day champions, my name's Nat from Nat's What I Reckon, and I'm a poetry lover and a proud ambassador of Poetry Month. I know you might not think that to look at me, but hey, life's full of surprises. Don't let that stressful book of really shit poems you wrote in your teenage years get you down. There's a chance to uncringe yourself. Good on you, champion. See you out in the thick of it. Or the books, or the poems, you know, whatever. We all know what we're talking about. See ya. I see you in the bar window, shining so bright, with a seeming list of demands for entry tonight. This super cool bar ain't for no phonies, with a sign out the front that says good vibes only. Those are the rules, this is the law. I mean, I'd love a quiet drink, but I'm not so sure that my vibe is quite right for this fancy bar. I've had a tough day, I even cried in my car. Maybe all that'll change if I just go inside. Or will I be found out by its watchful eye? Too bad, piss off, says the neon sign. You are not welcome here with your incorrect vibe. Go clean yourself up and bring back better. Something to match the clientele and other trendsetters. For this is a bar where no one's sad or lonely. This is a bar where we have good vibes only.
Hello, I'm Maxine Beneba Clark, and the poem that I've written for National Poetry Month is a poem especially for kids. It's dedicated to all the kids who are obsessed with TikTok and all of the teachers who are tired of hearing about it. It's called TikTok Dance. Dab, dab, shuffle, slide, left, right, left. Shuffle, slide, dab, dab, twirl, kick, step. I learned to dance off TikTok. I taught it to my friend. He taught it to his neighbor, who taught it to his nan. She taught it to her butcher, who taught it to his sis, who taught it to her nephew, who danced like a boss. Dab, dab, shuffle, slide, left, right, left. Shuffle, slide, dab, dab, twirl, kick, step. The nephew went to my school. He showed it to his class. They did the dance at lunch on the oval, on the grass. Dab, dab, shuffle, slide, left, right, left. Shuffle, slide, dab, dab, twirl, kick, step. A teacher came over. She smiled and scratched her head. She joined in the TikTok dance. This is what she said. I made a little dance last night. I taught it to my friends. They said that we should share it to see if it would spread. My husband took a video, uploaded it on his phone. We put the dance on TikTok. It went viral. Now I know. Dab, dab, shuffle, slide, left, right, left. Shuffle, slide, dab, dab, twirl, kick, step. Learn a dance off TikTok wasn't very cool. Turns out it was made up by a teacher at my school. She put the dance on TikTok that went viral in our town. Next time, I'll come up with a dance of my own. I'll put the dance on TikTok and I'll show it to my friend. He'll show it to his neighbor, who'll teach it to his nan. She'll teach it to her butcher, who'll show it to his sis, who'll teach it to her nephew, who'll dance like a boss.
Hello, I'm Rachel Mead, and welcome to today's poem for the Red Room Company's 30 in 30 celebration of Poetry Month. Today's poem is called Stand. 2 years I've lived as if in a cul-de-sac. a flat sun bathing me in cold blue glare, my griefs orbiting like silt-faced moons. Yet in dreams I soar with bar-tailed godwits, guided by gut and stars over the vast blue curve. Managum, I see you, pale bark, a clean flame licking the night. Please, tall one, tell me how to relish stasis. How do you stand, rooted deep in the loam dark, as life sparks past, the years a Doppler rush of flicker and change under a twirling sky? I try to feel my way into your body, a hard thing dressed in weather, needing nothing but to cradle all these quick lives. This year, my autumnal equinox swung past, decay etching my skin and honeycombing bone. What's it like for aging to be an act of creation? Your hollows house rosellas, koalas wedged between cloud and grass. Wattlebird, lorikeet, honey-eater, all feast on waves of flower froth, ants sipping sweetness beneath hangnail bark. Human lives race towards you and away, by foot, then cart, then car. For you, each day a mere falling mote of light. What's it like to exist like an open door, arms wide? Even as the eucalypt ocean shrinks to islands, you stand, a pacifist in the heart of battle. When you find yourself living in a graveyard packed with monuments to loss, please, old one, can you teach me how not to fall?
This poem, a found poem based on my book, Dr. Karl's little book of climate change science, is called Sunlight and Wind Are Free. Sunlight and wind are free, a kind of glue. Your loudspeaker simultaneously broadcasts molten iron in precise quantities. A kind of glue, adding seaweed, molten iron in precise quantities, not preparing for the future. Adding seaweed, when plants respire, not preparing for the future. Join sand and aggregate and then harden. When plants respire. Ships have lots of spare room. Join sand and aggregate and then harden. Buried sunshine. Ships have lots of spare room. A blended wing. Buried sunshine. No. A blended wing. Remarkably compliant. No. This lovely little atom is innocent. Remarkably compliant. Dip your foot into the surf. This lovely little atom is innocent. Slow motion dying. Dip your foot into the surf. Work on ruminants. Slow motion dying. A nearby glacier now floods the mine. Work on ruminants. New category, catastrophic. A nearby glacier now floods the mine. Tiny, delicious cherry tomatoes. New category, catastrophic. Remember the equation? Tiny, delicious cherry tomatoes. A dead tree more valuable than a living tree. Remember the equation? Imperfect natural thermometers. A dead tree more valuable than a living tree. The straight physics of this. Imperfect natural thermometers. Take the state of Queensland. The straight physics of this. Yes, we make huge quantities of concrete. Take the state of Queensland. The evil twin. Yes, we make huge quantities of concrete in one of the world's hottest oil patches. The evil twin looks like a flying triangle in one of the world's hottest oil patches. Our planet is a bit stretchy. Looks like a flying triangle. A certain amount of heat is coming. Our planet is a bit stretchy. Sunlight and wind are free. This was a found poem. It's called a pantoum, P-A-N-T-O-U-M. 15 stanzas, 4 lines each. It echoes a figure in my book, Dr. Karl's Little Book of Climate Change Science. that carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere reached around 415 parts per million at the start of 2021. Bye.
Hi, my name is Megan Wilding. I'm a proud Gamilaroi woman, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners, the Wongal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respect to elders both past and present. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Today I will be reading a poem that I wrote called Would, Could, Should. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. My sister would always tell me that she loved my curly hair and flat nose and freckled, spotted face because they were beautiful, and I believed her. My mother would always tell me that I was smart and brave and capable of doing anything that I put my mind to, and I believed her. My auntie would always tell me that I came from a line of caring and strong warrior women, and I always had their support, and I believed her. My nan would always tell me that the strength of my people and my ancestors and my land was in my blood and spirit. And I believed her. My land would always tell me that I was home and safe and that I was hers, no questions asked. And I believed her. So how can I know? How do you, yes, you, how do you, racist, white, gubberman, invader of lands with blood-coloured hands, your list of commands, ever think that I would, could, should accept your lies, hate, apologies, promises to never do it again when you have called everyone I believe a liar and wanted them dead? How could I ever believe you? And that was my poem. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're staying safe and sane, and I'm sending such big vibes to you.
Tiny Roar by Omar Musa. Silken snapdragons swaying on Stork Tower open their mouths. The tiny roars of colour, sherbet, red velvet, purple wine. Bees waltz in halos around them, sever the thread from earth and float, float to high heaven. Leaven the bread of story and song. We are coming out of winter now. I sit on the steps, chewing fat, smoking time, watching flowers push up between empty bottles, chip packets and coiled curses, struggling, finding a way, like ideas do, like we do. I forgot I'd even planted them, in an hour of loss, in a moment of need, in long dark months when my brain was jeweled in crystals and frost. Yes, I'd scattered the seed.
I don't know how to write anymore. I don't write anymore. I'm not sure if writing has become a luxury falling wayside to practical things like get up, wash hair, get to work by 9 a.m. and leave at 5 p.m, start second job, side hustle, bring in money, eat, shit, get fat, stop fucking your husband, you're both fat now, and you work until midnight every fucking day. Wine down. Drink more wine. Deal with 20-somethings telling you about coping mechanisms and active relaxing. Boomers telling you you're not frugal like they're out there churning butter. Churn your butter before you talk to me. Trust fund babies, share housing, dumpster diving, telling you that you're now bougie like they've known anything different. Safety nets open up lifestyles you never thought possible. While Gen X men tell you over and over again how much they hate their kids, before asking, when are you going to have kids? When are you going to do it? Have kids. Everyone's having kids these days. There's nothing else left for it. Got to have kids and send them to Steiner so they can learn how to churn butter. We'll beat the apocalypse if we all recycle. While Gen X, Gen Z women keep asking, how do you make beeswax wraps? Beeswax wraps are the future. Glad wrap is death. Glad wrap is death. Glad wrap is death. Send your kids to school with their beeswax wrapped peanut-free, gluten-free vegan sandwich. The ocean is on fire. The rivers are on fire. Everything is on fire all the fucking time. Fuck your beeswax wraps. Fuck your poetry. Fuck your memory. Fuck your identity. Everything is a luxury. Get up, work, eat shit. Eat shit. It's all designed to keep you compliant, screaming down the keys of a keyboard, taking on memes as identity. Taking on pseudoscience as the Bible, leaning on the Bible in defiance, using religion to keep xenophobia sidelined, hide it behind national identity, listening to marketing executives disguised as world leaders espouse national exceptionalism, dressed up, dumbed down, in a plaid shirt and an akubra. Clancy the fucking underwhelm over here just told us to ignore medical science. Too much in common with flat earth societies, sharing debunked philosophies as accuracies. I'm not a microbiologist, but let me tell you about these 3 things I just read on the internet. That's not a meme, that's an infographic. Maybe if I just turned the news off, it'd all go away. And I could write poetry again. Maybe one day.
Hi, I'm Sarah Holland-Batt. I'm coming to you today from Turrbal and Yagara lands, and I'll be reading my poem Empires of Mind, written for Poetry Month. Empires of Mind. Beside the fountain's troop of sun-bleached rubber ducks, in the gardens, under a shade sail, my father is crying about Winston Churchill. Midway through a lunch of cremated schnitzel, spoon-fed by the carer with the port wine stain, my father is crying about Winston Churchill. In the night, he cries out for Winston Churchill. During his morning bath, he cries for Winston Churchill. When the nurse does up his buttons, he will not stop his weeping. When the therapist wheels him to Tuesday piano, my father ignores the Mozart and cries for Winston Churchill. He cries not like a child seeking absolution, not like the mourner or the mourned, but free and unconstrained, as one who has spent a long time denying an urge and is suddenly giddy and incontinent in his liberation. The cleaners are unmoved. The woman who brings his hourly cup of pills is bright as a firework and goes about her round with the hardness of one who has heard all the crying in the world and finds in that reservoir nothing more disturbing than a tap's dripping drumbeat in a sink. But the night supervisor is frightened in the early hours when the halls ping with the sharp beep of motion sensors and my father's crying. His longing for silence is fierce and keen as a pregnant woman's craving for salt and fried chicken, as my father's crying for Winston Churchill. And the women in their beds call for it to stop like a Greek chorus, croaking like bullfrogs, each to each in the dark, unsettled, loud, insatiable. The unutterable fear rippling through them like a herd of horses, apprehending the tremor of thunder on a horizon they cannot see but feel.
Somewhere in between, beginning and end, are shaded beds on sacred bends, made in layers of leaves, resembling strands of ancient sacred ladies, where sweet waters ebb and soft northern winds blow, faceless maidens bellow, my arms and Nawi follow, as their rhythms sing me home upriver. Here spirits creep amongst echoes, keep dry eyes on Sweetwater's tides, watch them rise before I fall, for saltier waters dissolve river borders, for once stay on course. In branches old law women call, guiding my oars towards she-oak shores. Wrinkled bark mimics brown skin, carved marks reveal maps of kinship, names, voices and stories all told in sacred song, and grandmothers of she-oak hold sacred bends strong. Singing recedes from the tips of her scale leaves, down to a humming heartbeat in the earth beneath my feet. Grandest mother, I'm sorry we never had a chance to meet. I'm sorry your roots are far deeper than mine. For now, I hope this bed of tears will suffice. So swallow me at the end of every apology, and embrace my body in the roots of Casuarina. Melodic, medicinal symphony of timeless ancestress, my name has been sung by her for eternity. She-oak, she knows what is done and yet to come. Earth and maternal sounds of her soft wind song sing me into the ground, upriver where my bones belong.
I'm sorry.
Thanks to all our poets, and thank you for joining us in this celebration of our 20th year and the launch of our first retrospective, A Line in the Sand, 20 Years of Red Room Poetry. Copies of the anthology are available through our publishing partner, Pantera Press. Check out the link below in the comments and at all good bookstores. We also encourage you to get a copy into your local library, your school or community book box. You can also join us as the festivities continue throughout August in Poetry Month, a national initiative that aims to increase access to poetry in all its forms for all audiences in as many corners of the continent as possible. Presented by Red Room Poetry, we highlight contemporary poets and publishers from the 1st to the 31st of August with a newly commissioned poem every day, reflections, prompts, prizes, workshops, and events with some of the country's leading artists. Check out the full program for Poetry Month online at redroompoetry.org/Poetry Month to hear from poets, authors, spoken word artists, musicians, playwrights, and more.